Government College University has always been characterized by its traditions, and it is expected of the Vice Chancellor to follow these traditions. In the start of your tenure, you were criticized for your unconventional ways, yet we see that you were very kind to your critics and you have come out as a very competent, active, and a very kind Vice Chancellor. It is in recognition of your efforts that you are now appointed as the acting VC of Punjab University. So, after 3 years and after GC being your alma mater, what do you have to say about the traditions of GC University?
I'm really proud of the traditions that we have in Government College University Lahore. So it's not that I'm one of those vice chancellors who want to go against those traditions that we have embraced over time and felt very proud about it. But time has changed. Time has changed in which vice chancellors will have to come out of these beautiful offices and be interactive with the students and interactive with the faculty and the staff. And also the time has changed that instead of following that formal procedure of me writing a letter, going to the registrar and the registrar passing it out to the chairperson, and then at some stage it reaches the students. Now, through my use of social media, even at the nick of the time, I could drop 4-line message on Twitter, and in no time that message reaches to the students as well as faculty and staff. So use of social media was one thing where I was criticized. I was seen to be much too common to be interacting with the staff, faculty, especially I was seen to be interacting with the sweepers in the morning. I was so impressed by their ritual that when everybody is sleeping and 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning, they all gather around at one place and pray that may this day be a successful and productive day for all of us. And I was part of that ritual, and I truly appreciated them for that. So it's traditions need to change, and if they bring betterment to our students, to our institution, then we should not shy away from changing them. One tradition was that mostly students were not interactive with the Vice Chancellor. When in the beginning I came, I used to take a walk in the campus, and students will see me and then try to hide away behind a pillar or something. And I have to say sometime to them, Assalamu alaikum. And then now if I come out, not a single student passes by without saying Assalamu alaikum. So that is a positive change. Vice Chancellor is seen to be part of the community and interacting with them. And I don't mind if people criticize me for change of that tradition.
So, sir, you've made it clear that you give a lot of significance and responsibility to student societies within Government College. How do you feel students have responded to this initiative, and where do you think they could improve upon it?
Students have responded marvelously, brilliantly. And one example is a Young Ravian Society. Prior to my arrival in Government College University Lahore, there was not a single society that was devoted exclusively to intermediate students. And we made this Young Ravians Club, YRC. And I was amazed how excited students were to be part of that, and how we this year had given a role of honor to students who were originally part of the Young Ravians Club. Similarly, we have formed Kashmir Society, Anti-Narcotic Society, and recently we have established Peace Society, and I'm amazed how responsive students are. And this is a reflection of the fact that we want to actually help students learn beyond the classroom. We have realized that teacher has strong enough responsibility to be teaching the subject, and there's not enough time left to be talking about other skills, that other interaction that teacher and student can have. So through these extracurricular activities, through these student societies, students have opportunities to interact with their advisors, to interact with each other, and learn to say how to handle difficult people at times, your other students have other ways of doing the same thing, and you learn to accommodate them, tolerate them, and put forward your own views. So there's a lot of that interpersonal skill development in that interaction. So, and I think overall you are much better, more complete person through that interaction beyond the classroom, rather than just sticking by your curriculum and making sure you pass exam in good numbers. So student societies, we have now in excess of 90 societies. Last year we did a student society summit, and we were truly appreciated by other universities how a great culture we have in our student societies. And this year we will be doing a second student society summit, and hopefully this whole culture of students active in their different activities, in their different societies, and learning other skills that are useful for them.
Sir, as you have just mentioned that students are very keen in joining student societies. So it is clear that Ravians are very passionate about their pursuit of co-curricular activities. However, the main issue that they tackle is striking a balance between classwork and society work. And at times it can feel as if you are the only person who is lending your support to them. So students are reach this point when they have to sacrifice one form for the other. So what advice or message do you have for the students and faculty that are having to tackle this issue?
I think you're pointing to this challenge that at times some of the faculty members don't quite appreciate students' activity outside the classroom. I think that culture is slowly changing. More and more of us are becoming aware of the usefulness of students' activities beyond the classroom. And many of the faculty members actually appreciate the fact that those students who are active in extracurricular activities in student societies, they are much more responsive to learning in the classroom. They are much more interactive with the teacher in their learning. So in that respect, it one reinforces the other. Your activity, your skill development outside the classroom helps you become a better student in the classroom. And then more and more, certainly advisors of the societies are seeing that and encouraging more students to be active. But it's a change of culture in many ways, and I think gradually we will have more faculty members appreciating that. When we sit as employers on the other side of the table and interview students like yourself, very often, and I've been part of those benches where we have been interviewing students or graduates for faculty positions or other positions, we often don't care what grades you have got, and we often see how communicative you are, what manners in which you actually interact with the interviewer, and we also look for evidence in which you have done more than the textbook learning, and all of that becomes part of your persona, and wins you awards, wins you jobs, and wins you success in the future. So it's development of life skills through activities in societies which you would benefit for the rest of your life. In fact, when I first came back and started touring around and meeting people, I was amazed in how many top positions I found Ravians. I always knew that Ravians are contributing greatly, but every other office I will go, and without even informing them, somebody will inform others, and before I know, 10-15 people are standing there. Sir, I was a student that year, and I was a student that year, and they were sort of all very, very excited to meet me. And I started questioning myself, what made them so successful that many of them are at the top of the cadre in which they're working. And when I sort of further explored this, I found that majority of them were very active in the student time in extracurricular activities. So they had actually had the opportunity to learn those skills which became useful in their careers. So it's in that respect, I think students like yourself who are active in the literary circle as well as student society circle will benefit from that experience. In terms of representation of students, I believe it's important that students should get the chance to represent the student body. I'm not sure in what format. For instance, I'm not too pleased with the format in which students' union, actually students' group were attached to a political party, an external political party who were able to influence them. So we have to find a new format in which this connection to the external political party is removed. There will have to be independent student organization that would compete for a representation of students. Another aspect which partly because of this ban on student union is that lots of groups have become basis on their linguistic or territorial linkages. So for instance, you will have Baloch Council and Punjabi Council and Pakhtun Council. And I think students need to come out of this language specific identity, language specific identity. If we could somehow de-link the external political party to the student groups and de-link this association of identity to a language or to a certain part of the country, then we can think of an independent representation of students that can thrive and that can give this opportunity. In fact, in many ways, if you think of it, our student society model is a safe model of representation of students.
As students of literature, we often encounter jokes and mockery when with regards to our choice of subject. So this sentiment is felt across other humanities subjects and disciplines. In your eyes, how do you see these subjects playing a role in an increasingly profit and tangible result motivated world?
That's a very important question. And I think increasingly we are realizing the importance of humanities, the importance of literature. Not everything is about making bucks. A decent society requires somebody to be good in literature, somebody to be good in philosophy, somebody who could tell us the good things about or not so good things about our history. So humanities carries huge importance in our development as a decent, respectable society. And you can see English literature department, which now will become 150 years old soon, have produced so many literary people who have contributed to our society. So I think at some point we have to almost affirmatively started giving weight to humanities, especially literature subjects. And in that department, we make our students not only select them, that those who have aptitude of studying literature, for instance, but actually make them realize that they contribute towards the overall enhancement of the society, overall enhancement of the intellect of the society. So we love appreciating listening to good literature or good poem when we actually meet somebody from English literature department or Urdu other department, and we need to continue that. In Government College University, we want to put special emphasis on humanities, and I would be very inclined to think of humanities as a separate faculty altogether, and bring English literature, Urdu literature, history, philosophy together, and more focus on literature, Persian even, as long as it's touching upon not just Persian language but Persian literature. And you will be happy to hear that actually English literature department here in Government College University, we are now taking away the responsibility of teaching English as a language from the faculty. And we are really sparing them to think about literature and teach literature and delve in that, rather than have the responsibility of teaching English to, say, Arabic students or political science students. So in that respect, we are putting more emphasis on our faculty to be engaged in more English literature aspects and less on English as a language aspect.
GCU has a rich and illustrious past, and every management has always tried to give the institution a new direction in terms of growth. So, according to your vision and estimation, where do you see this institution in near future, especially in terms of expansion, like new sub-campuses and affiliate colleges? Mm-hmm. And if there is anything in pipeline, like a sub-campus in Sakurdu or in South Punjab?
Where do we see ourselves? There's actually three questions in it. Where have we come from? Where are we now? And where are we heading to? We have had an illustrious, as you said, past. We currently live in a state of affairs where we have a lot to criticize about the education standards that we are offering. Although on the one hand we are very proud of what we have done, but we see so much more we could have done, and we should do so much more. So in that respect, and we are always in a mode of introspection. So what can we do better? Sometimes I call it a reform. We are living with a reform agenda all the time. So we are looking for ways to make things better. So I have actually thought of 5-fold objectives, and then we included another one, 6th one, which is the GCU Climate Action Plan. Let me first point to the 5-fold objectives. One, and this is the base of all improvements that we will bring about, is to improve the quality of teaching, because in many ways we find weaknesses in our teaching, ways in the environment within which we actually conduct our classes, the incentives that we provide to our students from the teachers, the interaction between students and teachers have a lot to be desired. So that we are embarking on improving quality of teaching, and in that we are thinking of offering more and more faculty training. The second is research and innovation, not just for the purpose of promotions and appointments, but actually more for the societal impact, that we should do research which will have societal impact. We should produce papers which actually point to some societal improvements that we can bring about. The third is all about how could we improve our linkages to good educational institutions, because unless we know what is really good, who is doing better than us, we will not be able to see where we are heading to. What is our reference point in terms of, so we want to link up with great institutions and see how something we can learn from them if we could invite some good teachers and arts faculty to go to good institutions and come back and adopt good practices here. So that we want to do. The fourth is about governance and civil infrastructure. Governance is about a total application of merit in all our decisions, in terms of admission decisions, to appointment decisions, to promotion decisions, to all kinds of decisions that we make should be all about application of the merit. In terms of civil infrastructure, we are very much interested in expanding into a new campus. Last year we started inhabiting the new campus, and we want to continue on that track. Last year we shifted 5 departments there. This year we've shifted 3 more academic departments and 3 administrative departments. And it's a great opportunity for those departments who have shifted to the new campus to actually use the modern facilities, have expansion possibilities, because here we were struggling to breathe properly because we were so squeezed into this little 40-acre area. Now we have these 390 acres more with already 1 billion spent on developing the buildings and 1 billion more in the process to be spent. So that's one aspect of it. Another aspect, when we say infrastructure, we also mean infrastructure in terms of digital infrastructure, in terms of what automation we have in our admission processes, in our lecturing processes, in our assessment processes, in our payment of fee by the students, or payment of the salaries to the faculty and staff, and so many other things. So we are busy developing a campus management system. We are spending lots of money, and I'm hopeful that by fall 2023 we will have a new modern campus management system which would be developed by people of Government College University, understanding the processes that we have that need to be automated. So that's one great opportunity for us. Then we talk about, within this infrastructure, we have also brought about the solarization of this main campus, and hopefully we will be doing the same in the new campus soon. And that saves lots of money. Not only it saves lots of money, but it's actually climate friendly, environment friendly energy that we will be using. Last, the 5th point is about promoting sports, culture, extracurricular activities, as we have been talking about. So that's, we already talked about how extracurricular activities we are promoting. Sports, we have really embarked on a major uplift of the standards here in Government College University. And part of that is good selection of which students should be given admissions on sports basis. But part of that is support from our Youth and Sports Affairs Department of Punjab government, that they have developed a new swimming pool for us. Very soon they will be developing a sports center of excellence for us, which would have the gym, which would have state-of-the-art residential facilities for our sports persons. So we are very busy in that, and cultural activities also. We believe that each culture that we have here in Government College should be given an opportunity to exhibit what they believe in, what they enjoy doing, and in that way we learn about each other. The beauty of Pakistan is very much the diversity that we have in terms of cultures, and in Government College we have all people from all parts of the country, and thus we have the pleasure of some time actually seeing their culture in the events that they organize. One of the most important things we will be doing, as you know, that the way climate is changing, we need to start taking responsibilities towards this change that is happening. And of course, people from rest of the world, especially the developed world, should take more responsibility, because it's mostly because of their actions that countries like Pakistan are suffering. But we can, from our own end, start taking responsibility of how we could do things better to have less impact of climate change. And in Government College University, we have now come up with the GCU Climate Action Plan, and there are many different policies in it. For instance, one of the policy we want to soon introduce is to ban plastic bottles, because we have now installed filtration plants, and we expect we will soon be providing students glass bottles so that they can use glass bottles to drink water and keep that glass bottle in their bags for future. In terms of extension to other campuses, one of the objectives that we have in our vision is to provide greater access to underprivileged segments of societies, greater access of good quality higher education to underprivileged segments of the society. And for that reason, we started thinking of expanding our program to such that more and more students could benefit from our education. So we are thinking very seriously, and we have started working on it, is to develop a campus in Skardu, because Gilgit-Baltistan is a territory at the moment which benefits from high literacy rate. So you find that almost 100% literacy rate in a country which is, well, if we count a certain definition, only 2/3 of the total population is literate. But then we don't see them succeeding in higher education, partly because of lack of good institutions, their access to good quality higher education. So we identify this gap, we identify this potential that GB population has, and we are now very actively pursuing this policy that we set up a campus in Skardu. And that would be one example, because at one point we were also very actively thinking of setting up a campus in Waziristan, which is now part of KPK province. So we are busy removing obstacles from our end. We need to bring about some change in our act, and need to get some permissions from our end, and also get permissions from the end where we are setting up the campus. But I'm really hopeful that we will be able to cross those problems. We will be able to remove those obstacles and set up the new campus.
So to conclude this interview, we would like to know, what kind of a legacy would you like to leave behind, and how does your vision for GCU augment that legacy?
My legacy should be all about what reforms can we bring in, and how can we be always searching to make things better, how we receive them and how we leave them. So in that process, I have always been in search of everything I touch. I'm constantly thinking, how could we make it better? And it's so very important, because we are in the business of actually developing the human capital for the nation. It's a nation building exercise. So I don't do this job as a matter of job from which I draw money to pay the utility bills. I do this job as a cause. And that cause is about uplifting the education standards so that our nation, which is the world's 5th most populous country, become one of the top nations in the world in terms of science and technology, in terms of literature, in terms of other competencies that we see in human capital. So that's the legacy that we want to, and that's why, for example, one of the example is that we now have started thinking that education standards that we are increasing here at Government College University should not be just restricted to the students that are in this campus, and which is not more than 14,000 students. We are now enhancing our reach to go more towards affiliated colleges and see how some of the good work that we're doing could also benefit our students in those colleges. We also are very vocal on social media. Whenever we do something good, we are very vocal and we drum up how good we are doing something. Not just to brag about how good we are, but or to sort of leave good examples out there for others to follow. And we have seen others to follow. Recently, we announced double major policy, and I was surprised how many more universities have now started thinking and talking about introducing double major policy as we did here in Government College University. I'm also often surprised, the same phenomenon you said that I was criticized in the beginning, the use of social media. I see so many vice chancellors now becoming active on social media because they see this as a very positive instrument to interact with students.
So basically the aim for this interview session was to generate discourse and raise critical thinking in students and to provide them with a platform where they can interact with you and ask you questions regarding the policies that affect them, that influence them. So on behalf of Safdar Mir English Literary Circle, we would really like to thank you, sir, for giving us time from your busy day and for discussing these important questions that are on our mind. So thank you so much for that.
You're most welcome.